What is up, guys? Boris here, coming to you guys with another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. Now today we're going to be talking about the 5 reasons why I think that treasure map on global, specifically this first treasure map, is going to be amazing. Why I think it's when compared to JP, I think that this is going to be a great treasure map, potentially even better than any of the ones we've gotten on JP so far. So we're going to go through the 5 reasons why I think that is the case, and let's go ahead and start with reason number 1. That is that the boosted units for this first adventure mode or treasure mode on global are really good, and they give a lot of points. So if you want to see what the boosted units are, you click on this button here in the news, you scroll all the way down, and here's a list of all of the boosted units. Now when you compare this to the original boosted units that were on the JP treasure mode when Mihawk came out, the first one on JP, is pretty ridiculous. You pretty much have almost every single 6+ that's out on global, maybe I think with the exception of the brand new ones, which are Sengoku and Hody Jones. That right there is crazy. Now the reason is because, remember, you have to make 5 different teams, so the ability to have 12 different 6+s gives you so much captain potential. And on top of that, Neko and Shiro are also available as boosted units, so that's great. If you go down, you got the new batch, you got great raids, you got the new Dofi, and pretty much the only crap characters are the Fortnites, and even the Fortnite characters, some of these are pretty amazing. Brook, you have Kairos as toy form, really good units. They're awesome, and you even got the free koala, which everyone should get. So overall, the units that are boosted are really good, and I forgot to mention also Law is going to be a 1.35 boost, which is awesome. Law 6+ wasn't out, I don't think. Yeah, definitely was not out when the first treasure mode came out on JP. So you get an extra, I call him double boosted. He's not double boosted, but an extra like bonus boosted unit besides Lucy. Now, not only is the pool of available boosted units awesome, but they also give a 1.2 times boost, which is crazy because originally it was supposed to be a 1.1 boost, and now it's a 1.2 boost. This only has ever happened once, which was the second to last treasure mode. The previous treasure mode that we had on JP had all the non-super boosted units at 1.2. This most recent one has a few at 1.2 and a few at 1.1. This one on global has everyone at 1.2 plus stats boosted by 1.2 as well, and special charge reduced by 3 turns. Now why is that a big deal? 1.2 is only 0.1 more than 1.1. Well, it's a really big deal because when you have a full team of 1.1s, you end up getting about a 1.77 multiplier to your treasure mode points. But just increase that by 0.1, making it 1.2, and a full team of 1.2 boosted units will actually give you around a 3 times boost, which is almost double the 1.1 full team. So just by making them going from 1.1 to 1.2, you're doubling your points, and that is insane. Meaning doubling your points is having the time. So that's awesome. That is the first reason why I think the treasure mode is going to be amazing on global. Yeah. Huge, really good boosted units, and they're boosted by a good amount. Second reason why I think that that's going to be really good, actually let me go back in here, is the fact that Buggy and Zoro actually give more points than they gave on JP. So originally there were 2 boosted units every treasure mode. The first one would give 1.5, and the second one would give 1.35. Over time they changed it to make it a 2 times multiplier and a 1.5 multiplier, as we've seen in the recent treasure modes on JP. And it looks like global's getting that right away. Buggy's going to be a 2 times booster as opposed to a 1.5 booster like he was on JP, and Zoro's going to be a 1.5 as opposed to the 1.35 that he was. As well as Lucy, I believe, was a 1.2 booster, maybe a 1.25 booster. Now he's a 1.35, and on top of that you also add in Law, who's also a 1.35 booster. So overall, you just have a massive amount of points you're going to be getting this adventure mode if you manage to get the boosted units. And that's a huge deal. Trust me. 2 times, again, they might not seem like a big deal, but like I said earlier, just moving it from 1.1 to 1.2 added a lot of to your multiplier, and especially considering that you can get up some crazy multipliers, you can potentially be getting upwards of 11 to 12 times a boost if you're able to use a Buggy friend. Not sure if that's going to be the case, but yeah, you can definitely at least run a Buggy on your team, and that's just going to add so many points to your total, and it's going to make you be able to run it really quickly. Now So that's number two. That's number two, is that all the units, the treasure mode units have the higher boost, which again means that they're already implementing some of the stuff that JP has implemented. Another thing is treasure mode Sugofest. Now, number three is the fact that Zoro is guaranteed on a second multi, and then Buggy is heavily rated up on part 2. And that's again another thing that JP took him a few months to implement. Global's getting that straight away. The lower tier adventure mode unit is guaranteed after the second multi on part 1, I believe right here. The second pull, you're guaranteed the new Zoro. So you're guaranteed to get him. Just do 2 multis. A lot of people should be able to do 2 multis. And again, this is a whole debate whether you want to pull on this Sugo or not. If you're going for high ranking or you want to do this quickly and you have a lot of gems, you're guaranteed to get him on second multi. Might be a good idea to pull for him. But the crazy thing is that on part 2, it says right here, new Buggy is significantly rate boosted. So I don't even think we've gotten this on JP. So on JP, from what I understand, we recently have gotten the first unit is guaranteed on the second multi, and then the higher tier unit. So like in the recent JP one, that was Kuma. They were about a 1% chance, I think, from what my friend Sekapoko was telling me to pull. In this case, new Buggy is significantly rate boosted on day 2. So maybe you do 2 multis on day 1, and then maybe do 2 or 3 multis on day 2, and you could have a really good chance of Buggy if you didn't pull him in part 1. Now, I said day 1 and day 2. I think it's just in part 1 and part 2. Just the fact that he's significantly boosted means that you have a higher chance of pulling him. So in some cases, you might even skip part 1 because you're not that worried about Zoro. You really want that Buggy, because the Buggy gives a 2 times boost, and that's pretty important. So that's the second thing, is that, no, sorry, that was point number 3, is that Zoro and Buggy, they are a lot easier to get than they were initially able to in the JP version. That's what I meant to say. So that's really awesome. I think that's great, because at the end of the day, if you're pulling on these adventure mode Sugos, you better be getting some value for them, which you don't really get on JP, unfortunately. Next up, guys, number 4 is the fact that Zoro and Buggy can actually be used more than once. Now, I don't actually know where it says this. I'm going to try to find it real quick, but it's been confirmed that Zoro and Buggy will be used not only for this treasure mode, and they call them trusty characters. They will not only be trusty characters for this treasure mode, but on top of it, they will also be useful right here. They will be useful as trusty characters for the second treasure map as well. This is something, again, that JP has not gotten yet, is the fact that these characters, you normally pull for them, and then you never use them ever again after the treasure mode. So essentially, you're just spending money just so you can clear this faster or score higher in the ranks. And that's important because this is the only way to get limit break material, the only way to get potions, and the only way to unlock these characters. So you kind of do want, you're incentivized to try to get a score as high as you can. But then that means that you end up pooling and spending a lot of gems on these characters that you'll never use ever again. But on Global, that won't be the case, because you'll actually be using them as trusty characters on the second treasure map event. So if you're doing 2 multis for Zoro, it's actually nice because you're going to have a 1.5 multiplier on the first treasure map, and then a multiplier will probably go down, but it'll still be a boosted character for the next one. And some of these guys actually have pretty useful support abilities, so I wouldn't really complain about that. That's just a great feature. I really, to be honest, this is the #1 feature I wish that JP would get, is allowing us to use those old treasure map units and using them for future treasure maps. So that's my hope, is that happens. And yeah, so that's number 4. Let's go ahead and get into number 5. So the 5th and final reason, well, there's more reasons, but this is the top 5 reasons why I think that this treasure mode is going to be really awesome on Global, is the fact that, as you can see here, it goes from March 20th to March 24th at the end of the day. So it's more like a 5-day treasure mode. Now, why is that a big deal? Well, the initial treasure modes on JP, they were 7 days. They were a whole week. It pretty much started Monday morning, and then it went till I think Sunday morning. So it was about a week, you know, and it really required you to block off a huge portion of time. This one, I believe, starts like Tuesday and it ends like Sunday or something. I'm not too sure, but it's only 5 days, which is great. The shorter time means, again, you have to block off less periods of time. It also is occurring during the weekend, so if you missed the first few days, you'll get a chance to do it during the weekend when you don't have to work or stuff. And this is something that JP has also recently gotten into, is making these treasure modes shorter in length. And you might say, well, if it's shorter, then that means that I have less time to farm, so that's really bad. And you would think that, but actually what they've been doing is that they've been actually increasing the amount of points you get per boss so that you don't have to run it as much. So even though the time lengths are shorter, you're able to complete them faster than you ever were before, just because the points are more than ever before, and the multipliers are also higher than they have ever been. So overall, it actually means that you take less time to complete it. And if this is any indication, the fact that it's only a 5-day treasure mode means to me that there's a really good chance that they've already implemented some of those point boost increases on the treasure map bosses, and overall that would make it a lot faster to farm. And that's one of the main concerns I've heard from people, is that they don't want to spend a whole week farming this. So there's that. And finally, I guess that also means that if you are someone who's trying to compete for the top spot, you don't have to play for an entire week. It's only 5 days, and so that gives you less time that you have to be, you know, out there grinding on this treasure map. So again, those are the 5 reasons that I think that this treasure map is going to be really good on global. There's a few other things out there, but again, I just wanted to keep this sort of list short. Thanks again for watching, guys. Let me know if you have any more questions about treasure map down below. What are you guys going to be running? Have you made your teams yet for this? I might make a team video talk about the best teams to make for treasure map, so you guys can prepare with time. And with that said, guys, thanks all for watching. Talk to you guys in the next video, and until next time, peace.